hazy. I don't know what happened.
Okay, so hello and a very good afternoon to everyone. I am Megha Upadhyay, your host, and we welcome you all on today's exciting webinar session. As we all know that in today's era, time is the most valuable thing, in fact, more than the money. So this is on this. Our today's topic is time management secrets for founders. On this interesting topic, today we have with us Ms. Nabomita Mazumdar ma'am. She is a President Awardee founder and CEO Nabomita.com. Ma'am, we warmly welcome you on the behalf of the Gwalior Smart City Incubation Center. So without any further delay, I request you please start the session.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, thank you, Megha and Gwalior Incubation Center for considering me good enough for this session for such a talk and such a. Am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, perfectly. You are audible.
Okay. Okay, great. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I just keep talking and I realized I was not audible at all. So, first and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me and considering me good enough for this session. And of course, it's a issue which I think, just as you said, time is money. Time leads to money. If you don't account the time well, your bank account will always be low. So I'm so grateful that we are talking about not just time but something that leads to a lot greater value. So let's get started. Okay, so this is the first area that I want to talk about. Most of us, when we start a product or any service or I mean any cause, right? You could be building be building an Airbnb. You could be building the best fintech solution that has not been identified so far. When we build such a product, we completely get blinded with what our passion is, with what our direction is. And that's exactly where we lose the track of what most important part is, the time quotient. This time quotient essentially is, is that quadrant, right? Which seems very feeble when you start a product, because you're high on passion, uh, you're high on cause, you're high on deliverables. But it's only towards the end of your, probably by the time you are finishing the project or you're finishing towards your closing line, you realized, had you learned to manage it from day one, it would have been a much smoother journey for you. So that's exactly where we take you to the next part. Most valuable and limited. Startup move fast, so yeah, of course your decision should follow it. Small team, more hats, smart time habits. let me tell you a Let me tell you an interesting event. We are yeah, this is my probably most of us are in that startup mode, irrespective of what kind of product we work or what kind of company that we are working with. I'm grateful I'm working with some of the largest organizations, some of the most renowned organization around the world. I'm interacting with CEOs from India, US, name it, the largest company from US. Now, what happens when you do all these things? Your work becomes so big that the biggest point that is driving you gets lost, right? How? I'll tell you. You have 10 different things to do in a day, which you probably start at 9 a.m. in the morning or whatever time you start in the day. And then there are 100 different things that you end up doing, right? Yes, you achieve a lot, but you realize that doesn't lead to any result. First thing. Second thing is, that doesn't get you to a point where you should be. And biggest thing is it adding to your um, revenue? Biggest thing. Somehow, certain activities may add to your revenue as you work along. However, those those activity are could be a little transactional, right? Those activities could be, okay, you need to get your quick revenue. I'm sure as founders you have your different buckets signed on. Somewhere you get your quick revenue, somewhere your revenue is little, probably it takes a little longer time. Somewhere the revenue is so big that you have already agreed to all the trade-offs. Now, For you, when you start pushing all these different lines, do you also have an eye open for your further development? I'll give you an example again. There are different, just yesterday we closed on a collaboration with a dream brand, right, which has taken me almost 7 to 8 years to close it. All these 7 to 8 years, imagine had I not kept my eyes on this particular mission. I would rather call it mission, because that's exactly how I say a mission accomplished or mission uh, underway. Had I not kept it, then yes, the revenue would have come. I mean, there could have been a lot more of views and visions and everything coming in. However, this particular this particular initiative would have been lost. This particular brand would have been lost. So this is exactly, time is most valuable and limited resource is a very understatement on how time should be defined. Startup move fast. Your revenue lines are the ones that decide the speed of your startup. If your revenue line is very fast, suppose you are on a B2C, right? Obviously your revenue may be small, but then there is a daily, I mean, there is a daily sign off that you're getting it. Sometimes you're not a B2B, you're probably a B2B, so your revenue cycles are probably 3 months, 6 months longer. That's, should that be your pace? Should that be your task list of driving, I mean, driving productivity every day on day-to-day basis? Now let's, last area, small teams, more hats, smart time habits. Let's just say that we are I mean, we are multitasking to such an extent that we don't realize that how much are we accomplishing. um, I had a meeting with one of a very well known organization. Probably most of you have either interacted or worked there. When I was talking to them, I realized the number of people who are delivering just one task bucket of my company are 19. 1 9. And for us, how many people do we have? Let's not even get there. This is exactly how we get things done. We do not count the number of heads. For us, it's not a billability. For us, it's getting the work done. One word which is extremely famous for startup is hustle. I love that word. It's very American, but to me, it often sounds hassle, because if you do not plan it, your hustle will become a hassle. At the same point of time, with smaller number of people, right, the amount of task bucket that we are closing is our hustle. Because when I was talking, the reason why I was talking to that organization is the kind of complexities that has developed on managing those 19 people in that particular task bucket. I could not, I mean, honestly, I did not have the backbone to say to that CEO that, I mean, okay, 19 is a good number. I mean, yeah, it makes it is adding on to the GDP of my nation, but this is how many people we have to do the exact number of work, exact number of tasks. So that's exactly what you need to identify, that your hustle shouldn't become a hassle. How you define it, how you do it, is your identity, should be your integral DNA. Small team, more hats, smart time habits. That's exactly how it goes. 19 people or whatever number of people that I'm not even numbering is your productivity hack. Yes, as a founder, we are wearing many hats, or rather, I should say that we are hat shops. I mean, the number of our hats we wear, probably we lose a count. Some of them are named, some of them are not even named. I mean, uh, there is a there is a handle on Twitter now, X, which gives me a new word every day, and I learn it because I honestly I did not know English language would have a word for that, and through that I'm learning the kind of the kind of task that I have delivered actually had a designation and a name to it. That's how many ways I mean we are integrating our own productivity to the values that we are generating. However, when we are doing this on a regular basis, initial stages is good. Passion drives everything, passion takes care of everything. However, once I shouldn't say, once your roadblocks will start hitting, that's exactly the burnout starts. Are you ready to deal with your burnouts as you wear this innumerable number of hats. As a CEO, when there's a burnout, or particular there's a particular, let's just say that you're a CEO, you got up in the morning, you have to hire 10 people, and you have to also close down certain you close and not close down, sign in um, certain payments for your vendors. And then by the time you reach office, one of your clients have already called off your services. You still will have to hire those 10 people, because uh, they are for a very, very different project, and that's a very different revenue stream. At the same point of time, the client who has cancelled all your services has to give you an explanation. There is a huge amount of firefighting that comes. I'm sure you know about it. And now when you are going through it, will you remain balanced when you interview those 10 people? Will you remain human to them? Will you not will you not tear them apart in the interview? I remember very long time back, when I was into the workforce, I was interviewed by people who were extremely nice and sweet to me. But that particular day, I don't know why did they behave like this, that with me. And even later on, they themselves said that it was something else going somewhere else, but we couldn't help it. When we met you, it just came out. I feel sorry for them, but it's too easy to get into those shoes, especially when you have to manage so many things. Or let's say that fine, you did not have a service cancellation, but probably one of your vendors, or the checks that you were supposed to sign for your vendors, there is some kind of a delay, and these vendors are not easy to handle. So when you are managing that vendors complexity, when you are managing the new hires, will you remain balanced? What is exactly your calm hack? I i think every founder talks about productivity hack, but I think we need our calmness quotient. We need our hack to remain calm. uh, I don't know what works for whom at what point of time. It's very relative, it's very individual. For me, one thing, it's stupid, but one thing, it, I suddenly realize myself in a nice happy place where I want to be. Just to switch off. I know it's very silly, but just to switch off for a few seconds gives me a happy dope. To be honest, I'll give you an example. Just yesterday, I was supposed to take a very high stake call, right? And that high stake call was coming to me between two pressure situations. Now, this high stake call cannot go wrong. So what I started doing was imagining something that is a dream come true of mine, right? Manifesting absolutely myself every minute, every inch there, getting into that zone so much that when I took that high stake call, I was so positive that the person on the other end was actually very happy with me. I know it's childish. It doesn't work all the time. It cannot be everybody's vibe, but at times some kind of a hack calm to remain calm or keep our calm quotient high does really help. Constant task switching, we cannot help this most of the time, right? Especially in our high stakes situation. Trust me, it's probably the intelligent design or something around the universe. We will always get bombarded with tasks, right? So how do we keep constant task switching? One example I can give you is, it sounds a little MB-ish, but then yeah, it helps. So let me say it is in basket exercise. In basket exercise is something very simple. You can find it on the internet. It teaches you to just pick what you cannot do without in the basket, and no matter how important it is, to leave it aside for next few hours, right? Again, going to that same example, wherein let's say that you have both the situation, all the three situations at the same point of time. The client has cancelled the service, the uh, vendors are on fire because there is a delay in the payment which you were supposed to clear on that day, and then there are 10 candidates waiting for you to be hired. Which task are you switching? Are you going to prioritize? You have to ask that question to yourself. I don't want to answer everything. No clear of hours. This is one of the biggest problem. For me, it's very difficult. I don't know. Where are you listening to me from? If you're in Gwalior, trust me, you are blessed. You are blessed. If you are in Mumbai or in some kind of a high traffic zone, your off hours are ridiculous, because essentially off hours for somebody is once they get off work. For them, once they get off work, it's a terrible commute which is going to ruin their day. And then by the time they reach home, they have those home situations to be dealt of. So what exactly is a off hour for a person like this? Let me let me talk about your city. I have been to Gwalior. Gwalior is beautiful. I am grateful to be at Gwalior because it was Rajmata's 100th birth centenary birthday, and we were honored. We were honored by the CM at that point of time. I saw the city. It's beautiful. Even if I think I know this sounds very mean, but I think if you're stuck in a traffic in those beautiful roads, I have seen those palaces. Maybe I have not seen the complete Gwalior. I have seen only the beautiful part of the Great Gwalior, but I don't think I would mind being stuck in that that pretty part. It's so pretty green, and there are palaces, beautiful buildings. A friend of mine, right, who drives for 4.5 hours every day in the evening to reach home in Bangalore, he has switched into the podcast mode, right, and he's learning for his next role. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, another friend of mine, he was, he went through a certain financial downturn. He lost his home, and he had to work as a truck driver in US, right? When he was working as truck driver on his iPad, he started training himself on Salesforce. He's one of the top influencer for Salesforce right now. Salesforce sends him to India to evangelize the Salesforce community. So this is what how of ours certain hours that that is not too productive for you can be utilized, and certain hours that is officially off but not off for you can still be put kids can still be put in a mode which doesn't turns you off. Turns your mind completely put shuts your mind down, but yeah, in some way, maybe for some people, charges them off. At work, again, um, most of us most of us, when we are obviously when we are in the initial phase of building a product, we don't hate Narayan Murthy because we know we work more than 6 hours, 6 days a week. We work a lot more than that. If there was 8 days a week, we would have worked on that 8 days well. So that's exactly how things are built. That's exactly why we are founders. But that at the same point of time, and until and unless it's a burnout mode for you, I think it's important to identify the difference. How do you identify it when you are so much into the passion, so much into the need of building the product, and you have a deadline? It's not just literature. It's a deadline, right? Within 18 months, you have to have that deadline to get those investment in, to get those clients in, to get the money in. 18 months, 6 months, but I don't know whatever kind of deadline that you have. When that deadline is driving you, how do you divide off hours for you? Here's what I think. Every brain has its own mechanism, or rather has its own clock to be productive. For some of us, we are productive for at a stretch. It's science, it's neuroscience. At the stretch, we can be productive only for half an hour to 45 minutes. Beyond that, brain starts uh, our brain starts winding down. So when we are talking about such neuroscience, identified your own rhythm. Know that this is the point at which you need to take a break. It could be a quick break, right? I'm not talking about, I'm sorry, I'm not against somebody who smokes, but if it is a smoking break that helps you, very good. But people receive a lot better energy if they channelize that time into something else. I don't know what kind of a support system would you have around you to find that particular 2 minutes or 3 minutes break that you want. I think it's one of it's a strategy which we will talk in the forthcoming slide. We will discuss it a little more. And first, finally, urgent versus important chaos. Remember that day of yours when you had the service cancel, wow, vendors firefighting, and the hiring interview. Which one is your urgent and which one is your important chaos? You know it better. Next slide. Okay. So focus on high impact work. Done is better than perfect. Delegate, automate, or delete. Protect your deep work time. Now, exactly, we are talking about something which we honestly think we all do, but none of us are doing, right? Because what we do is whatever that we are, I mean, that we are most passionate about at work, particular point, it will have all our attention. We will give everything to it, and then realize that, oh my God, I should have done that as well. They say that do the most difficult activity right in the beginning of the day. If that helps you, good. For some people it doesn't, because beginning of the day for people like me, it's the day point of the time wherein my energy has to be pumped up high. So if I drag myself to some activity which I barely like, then I don't know how will I again motivate myself to this high zone and then probably go ahead and deliver even higher productive work. So entirely up to you. Identify your rhythm. Identify how do you want to focus, how your brain helps you to focus. And then, of course, since most of us works in team, again we will have to coordinate that with our team members. This is exactly where the entire human nonverbal communication comes into play, right? Some people are very active in the first part of the day, some people are more active in the second part of the day, because just in few hours time they will get to go home. You have to know your team members as well. For me, if I have to if I have to deliver on something which is not a good activity or is going to take is going to take my energies out, I what I do is I plan some kind of a reward right after it. Right? It could be any kind of reward. Doesn't need to be a cupcake or a sweet or a, I mean, I'm not asking you to overfeed yourself, but it could be it could be even watching your favorite song. Any kind of a reward that motivates you. I plan it and then I take on that hard task. Done is always better than perfect, but at the same point of time, know who your end users would be at times. I mean, I'll give you an example. At times, I write emails for people whom I know are very considerate. I mean, they are human angels. So I don't put too much of effort while emailing them. If I have to put in some message, I quickly do it, send it in the morning or 3 a.m. in the morning. Yes, this is one more thing. There's a particular time of the day which I keep separate to send all the important priority mails at that point of time. And people who work with me regularly, they know that's the point of time they will receive all the emails and messages from me. Now, entirely up to you. It doesn't need to be 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning. However, there are certain people who are, I'm not saying they're nitpicky, but they have their own standards. So for that, even an email needs an effort for me. So when I have to email them, probably I'll plan something, I mean, rewarding for me. It could be even a cat video, right? It doesn't need to be a shopping or some kind of a some kind of a materialistic gain. It can be any kind of a reward. I plan it and then I write all those emails for people who are little, who manage a little bit of more boundaries than others do. Delegate, automate, or delete. You have to understand it at the first point of your day. What you don't want to worry about, what somebody else will deliver better than you worrying about it, delegate it. Delegation is not um, freeing your task list or freeing your daily schedule and probably just giving work to your team member because you have hired them. No, delegation is, for me, it's acknowledging someone's internal strength, their personal contributions, what they bring to the table. So delegation is actually very rewarding for both the parties. See it that way. A lot of time, I'm sorry, but I have a lot of time I've seen founders, especially women founders, they don't micromanage, but they believe they'll do the entire thing will happen if they are delivering the entire work. This is a major, I would rather say, a volcanic crater. Once you jump into it, there is no way out. So before jumping into it, I know that there are team members who will actually find it rewarding, and you are actually getting a lot more out of them. Automate. At the age of ChatGPT and all these AI bots, I don't think, or DeepSeek, not just ChatGPT alone is not good enough. So DeepSeek AI bot, I don't need to teach you automation. You can teach me better. And delete. This is one thing I will tell you. Just very recently, I was talking to somebody who is super, super, super rich. I mean, rather, if I call her ultra HNI, then I'm still undermining her net worth. That person told me being powerful is not your bank balance. Being powerful is your your strength to say no to somebody when they walk up to you. And saying no is not some, I mean, not to give them somebody, but giving your time to them. That's what she meant. And I was shocked. If a such a rich person, right, is saying this to me, imagine the depth of it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you have in your bank balance, but if you have to bow down to 100 different people to you around you, and you do not have any time left with your own choice, I don't think your money can help you anyway. So delete is one power. See it as your flex, right? Acknowledge it as your flex. Protect your deep time work. This is one thing that only you can identify. Remember, I told you about the zone, my 3 a.m. zone, or probably your 3:30 zone, or probably your, it could be your 12 p.m. as well. Your deep work time is something that you will find it is in every day cycle. Identify that time and block it. I have a system of putting my phone on airplane mode. So that's the kind of barrier that I draw. And if I'm working, I mean, if my team is around me, I just plug my earplugs in, or shut the door if that is required, or else leave the door open, but you keep the plug in, put my phone on airplane mode. Anybody who sees that kind of a signage understands it. Protect it, because that's when you are going to get most of your work done. Yes, this is exactly what I mentioned, that techniques that I'm sure most of you have studied in your graduation, post graduation, whatever amount of education that you had, but none of us do it. We studied it because of grades, and yeah, we just keep it there. Using Kanban boards, right? You I mean, I'm sure Kanban is a kind of a philosophy which was used by Toyota, and you all already know that. For us, we don't work in the car manufacturing, but then yeah, this is the newest Kanban mode, wherein you use Trello and ClickUp and Notion, right? Uh, there are many productivity apps. I'm not sure what works for you. A lot of productivity apps are also built by Indian founders, right? I can name quite a few, but I don't want it to be seen as endorsement, because they are not paying me for it. I just saw their products, and it's pretty good in terms of collaboration, in terms of their output. So Nexus AI, I mean, if Megha is open to it, I can connect you to the founder. He's somebody who's worked in US banking and in very important roles, and now he's returned to Kolkata and is building that product. The product is excellent. They have a headquarters, and I think they have a office in Bangalore as well. They are working with some of the great companies. Such products will come up to you only if you look out for it, or else you can just stick to the usual ones. Somehow, this is one this is one thing that I have learned from the larger organization, that the propensity to use a product shouldn't remain your style statement. If the product is not serving the purpose, please sign out of it and go to a product which is not known by anybody. So why I'm saying this is because a lot of us do sign in, right? There's a paid part to every productivity app. When we sign into that product, we do it because when we are talking to other people, we want to drop in words that, oh, you, yeah, we this is used by my team, that is used by my team. Get out of that mode. That doesn't help anyone. Daily stand up, again, this is one thing that I strongly believe. if you can decide something, I mean, mm, nothing against sitting posture of work, but I literally prefer a standing work table because I believe we get a lot more done when we are standing up. And when you call people for meeting, right, they will deliver a lot, I mean, lot more faster if they're just standing and talking to you. uh, I know founders who have these rules, right? I'm sure you have heard it from others as well, who have these rules that if one pizza can be shared by n number of people, only that those many people will be invited to that meeting. One pizza rule, right? And again, stand up rule, which means you can only stand for 15-20 minutes or 30 minutes, so the meeting will end by the time you can no longer stand. S- so pizza rule or your stand up rule is something that you have to identify to make sure that meeting deadline is strongly followed. Of course, the techniques and all these, this is a Japanese technique, obviously, wherein you focus you focus on something. You look near, you look far, you look near, you look far. That's the kind of productivity hack which this Pomodoro talks about. In 25 minutes, you identify certain things that you will finish, right? Now, these tasks, when we are talking about 25 minutes block points, are just transactional task. No, I'm not expecting anybody to get a $1 million client in 25 minutes, but put in those efforts in 25 minutes, just as I mentioned, for 7-8 years, and then probably get a collaboration that you're proud about. So that's exactly how you look at it. 15, it could be 15 minutes, it could be 25 minutes. Again, 25 minutes focus sprint is what they identified, but I don't think everybody has 25 minutes time span. For somebody it's 19. And it did again, if Gen Z or even our future generations are supposed to be considered, then probably it will be 3 seconds. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not making fun of anyone, but those will be redefined pretty soon. Calendar blocking for deep work. Again, we talked about it. Yes, identify what is best for you and make sure you do not even speak to anybody during that particular point of time until and unless that time ends or the amount of tasks that you had identified for you have delivered. Do not get distracted, do not entertain anything else. Hard and fast rule. I remember there was a point of time when I mean I was preparing for something, and it used to take me 19 hours a day. And my didi, right, she's now in Germany. Back then she was in India. She used to see me working like that, and she used to say that, how do you work? You work like I mean, there is this zoo in Kolkata, right, wherein the tigers are kept in an island with water around it. She said that you work like that tiger. You sit in that island and you have water around you. It doesn't even matter to you what the world is going. You're just in that island. So that's exactly how strongly you have to block yourself. You have to draw your boundaries. Nothing can distract you. Use AI tool to save hours. I think um, I spoke to somebody from Silicon Valley yesterday who used an AI product. I mean, he's not gone live with it, but he used an AI product to um, build a website ditto same as Airbnb. I have met another. I mean, he's into film content creation again from US. He used to hire up to 30 people, for between 30 to 50 people to deliver a, a 15 minutes video. Now he's delivering it with 3 people and the AI tool. And the cost, obviously you can calculate how big it must be. So this is how I think the tools are around. I can name, but then I think uh, there are a lot of areas. I mean, I can only name the kind of tools that I need to use because we are into media technology. For you, it could be entirely different because if you are building, say, a logistic tech of product, your AI tools are entirely different. Or if you are building a completely a geostationary type product, again, your AI tools are different. So I leave it there. Not everything needs to be done now. This is one, this is one point nobody will answer, nobody will realize until and unless it's already over for you. right? Probably the day you take an exit and you sell your product and now you have enough money to think about your next product. That's the day you'll realize not everything had to be done right then. Few things could be done much later. So the obviously the matrix that we are talking about here, the North Star goal, and saying no more often. uh, Again, going back to that ultra HNI lady who I mentioned, we remember she's super, I mean, super rich, but she did not consider herself powerful because she felt she did not have. And to give you a little background to why exactly she made such a statement, because we both were talking, something came to her, and she was very reluctant, but she, I mean, with a great manner and courtesy, she said yes. And similar thing came to me and directly said no. I mean, I just said no. That's exactly where she said this to me, that power is the capability to say no. It's not your bank balance. That is something that you have to identify right now. If you cannot put in that kind of a weight around your priorities, your boat is never going to sail, or probably it will sail into the direction that you don't want to rudder yourself. North Star goals. Again, North Star goals are something that uh, most of us identify it with the revenue goals, right? Revenue goals are one thing. Revenue goals will not be everything. I mean, let's say that, fine, you have earned $10 million. Will that $10 million run your company for the rest of your life? Will that $10 million be enough for the rest of your life? No, right? So revenue goal is one point. It is not your North Star. North Star is the point which will ensure your startup's continuation or your company's continuation even after you die. Do you even know what it is? Have you identified what are you doing out of it? No, you don't need to map anything right now. North Star is supposed to be in the sky. We don't go and touch a North Star and come back every day. But then just because it's there, we are never lost. So if you're listening to me, if you have identified something, some unbelievable target, right? uh, no, it's not listing, your company. That is, I mean, that is something most of our promoters or startup founders think that it is a North Star goal. No, it is not your North Star goal. It is again a stepping stone. The North Star is your continuation even when you are not a part of it. So identify it, make sure it is there, and then continue your journey. Getting it. Leading lean. This word lean, I loved it when we first saw it, right? It was early 2010, right? 10-15 years back. It was talking, it was, I mean, yeah, lean is something which is there in management all the time, but suddenly the lean the word was all over the social media. And mm, I mean, leaning forward, famous people like the Facebook co-founder, the Facebook CEO. They were writing big books and famous content on that. This is one area, right, which makes us very, I should say, strong. At the same point of time, it is the point which cripples us in the long term. I will repeat, it will cripple you. Why? Because you are, I mean, good. You are too focused. You know how to get started, how to deliver with the least number of resources. It will put you into the mode. Now imagine yourself in that mode when you are expanding 10x or 100x, right? So lead lean. At the same point of time, don't damage your systems to expand in future. So yes, clear role overlap, clear roles and less overlap. This is the biggest thing that will help you keep this in mind, that today, fine, there are two people delivering 30 people's job, but at the same point of time, they they are not stepping into each other's shoes. Weekly goal setting, transparent updates, and of course empower team to own their own task. This is one thing that I will talk about. I have a bad habit. You know what I do? I go back to my task list 2 years back, 3 years back, and I see it makes me happy each time I see a green tick on my task. It makes me very happy. You know why I do it? It's my hack to review what have I achieved so far, what I have achieved at that point of time, which was so important to me. Did it even mean anything to me today? Right? Which is a kind of a mirror session, right? I wake up to the reality when I see such things. So this is when you talk about goal setting, i would I would also talk about a review, and the review is internal. The review is not about sitting with your team and tearing each other down. No, have a have a honest review for yourself. Identify things for yourself. Trust me, when you have such clear points for yourself, you will never be able to fade it or haze it for anybody else. Routine time: 15 minutes Sunday, plan your priorities. 10 minutes daily review, I just talk about it. And 30 minutes Friday, reflect and optimize. Again, for me, helps. Review is also a reward for me. So, uh, 10 minutes daily, yes, this is exactly how I plan it. If I want to reward myself, I'll just pick some kind of an old task list and just keep reviewing it. That okay, wow, this has happened. One good thing that happens from that kind of an habit is, even if it sounds too fishy for y'all, but trust me, when I review my old task list, right, and I go through what had I done to get that work done, I realize how many ways I could have done it differently. I realize uh, how many troubleshooting was happening simultaneously. Right, when we live through a situation, we don't introspect enough. This kind of introspection makes my work intelligence, super strong. So a review is a reward for me, but up to you. Plan your priorities. Obviously, revenue is your top priority. Revenue is why you have started this product or service. But again, understand the North Star, which will continue your company beyond you. Have the balance, and of course reflect and optimize. Introspection is introspection is not insult. Introspection should be introspection should be individual. It should be internal. It should be completely owned by every individual. Of course, you can only start it for yourself. A team member um, who wants to probably, yeah, um, dodge such points, it's very difficult to get such people to introspect, or even for you to explain how important introspection is. Don't try to force them. Just when you have these off hours chats and discussing about how things progressed for you or for somebody else, explain how introspection has helped you. Don't ask anybody to introspect. Just explain it for others. Trust me, it's a drug. It works like a drug. What to avoid? Endless meetings. You can't help it, because when you are, again, that day when going back to that day when you have a service cancellation, vendor firefighting, and hiring, which meeting do you walk out of? Which meeting do you decide it ends here? We don't discuss anything beyond the point. Is it the content of the discussion, or your time limit? How do you keep a handle on that? Doing everything yourself, I have discussed it. It's the deepest crater you can jump to in your entire life. And trust me, if you are getting into that mode, there is no savior who can come for you. So good luck with it. Waiting for perfect, yes, definitely. Do it for people who will hold you down if you don't deliver it perfectly. But for most of the people who are human enough, get things done. And constant context switching, this is one biggest problem for us. Again, going back to the same example, the service cancellation, the vendor fire fighting. If you have if you have a meeting, right, with the team from your client's location, and you are almost trying to look deep into why the cancellation has happened, and suddenly these vendors have get out your office. How do you switch between whom? Who do you ask to talk to you later, and whom do you send home before you can take care of the other things, right? uh, I don't want to lecture on that, but I think when people come to pressure you, right, it's good to listen to them, but again, it's important that you hold the cart till things cool down. I mean, when things are boiling, it is never. Yeah, they say that don't sail your ships on a violent sea. That's exactly what I mean. And of course, when you have somebody already given up on you, do you spend more time on them? Do you want to keep investing on them? Well, up to you, entirely your situation. I don't know what will work. Maybe some kind of a understanding and some kind of a deep thinking can probably win that client back. But don't live in that hope endlessly. But at the same point of time, yes, what kind of an investment should give you what return? Even when somebody is canceling on you, you should have a better view too. So when you are switching context, know what was your priority, what could have been dealt with later, and what needs to be understood and invested right now. Schedule back, set a shutdown time, and founder wellness, startup survival. Okay, schedule breaks. Most of us take schedule breaks when we don't have any call schedule or any email that has to be sent right now, or any communication that has to be done right now, right? That's our break time. That works because that's exactly how we are supposed to be there at work. But at the same point of time, I don't like Apple watches, but there is one good thing about an Apple watch. It will make you stand up if you sit for a certain duration of time. It will make you walk around if you don't walk within that time. I mean, it acts like your boss, but sometimes that kind of a bossy nature helps. At the same point of time, you have to remain flexible. Obviously, you do not know what kind of an emergency situation you're dealing with. But yeah, keeping a schedule break is best. Identify your rhythm and identify your breaks according to it. That's exactly how your breaks will rejuvenate you and make you stronger when you come back to work again. Set a shutdown time. Does that even exist? Shutdown time. What happens when you shut down? No, right? That's exactly where things will go even more weird. Shutdown time is not the time wherein you're cutting things off. Shutdown time is just a time wherein you're giving yourself some time to expand within you. I hope you understand this. You uh, you're not taking somebody's attention. You're not taking any orders for anyone. You're not taking any communication for anyone, right? That can also be a shutdown. Probably you're sitting within 5 people, right? And you had a very, very, very rigorous time since last 2 hours. Your brain is tired. You need a break right then. So this kind of a shutdown process works with some kind of a training. But then I'm grateful. I'm saying too many but then, sorry. uh, yeah, obviously I have training came to me. Certain meditation trainings that I attended, that's where I learned that there are certain countings that if you follow, I mean, obviously there's a lot of habits that has been inculcated to get into that stage first, the alpha, beta, and gamma stage of brain. When you get into that point and you start that counting, you can suddenly get into a mode wherein you you do not listen to the chatter around you. You listen to the sound that's farthest from you, right? So what is the sound right now as you listen to me? Probably my voice is the closest thing to your ears. What is the what is the sound which is farthest for you? Probably some vehicle that is driving down the road, or a bird which is sitting on a far away and somewhere in the tree and around you. Focus on that sound for a while. If there is no such sound, then you have the sound of AC. in your room, or the fan, even the fan. Focus on that sound for a while. Just listen to that sound and nothing else. Let's let every other sound in the room just flow. Count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Be there for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever amount of time you can, and then count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back to the real situation and start interacting again. This is a shutdown. I mean, shutdown process, which is there in many techniques, and there are even bigger, greater techniques than this. But this actually will, I mean, take care of your brain for next probably 2 more hours that you have to slog, and I mean, call it a day before it is off entirely. If you have the capability, I mean, if you have that kind of a freedom to close down, you shut down your PC, MacBook, whatever, your laptop, and then you don't open it till for next 2 to 3 hours. If you can manage that, nothing like it. But if you can't, then probably you can at least train your brain to shut down for few seconds, right? In such pressure situation, reach your calm, and then probably get back somewhere. Founder wellness leads to exact point what I talked about. The reason why I got into so many training, the mind training that I talked about, was the point wherein I was working for a product. I telecommute, right? I started telecommuting right from my first product, and I realized that, I mean, the pressure that I have when you are working in a large corporate with many people around you, right? There is a definite pressure cycle that you go through and you get used to it. But when you suddenly switch to a telecommute situation and you're working alone, right? That entire pressure situation on you multiplies by many times, because you don't realize when you should have drawn a line, and when you should have taken a break, when you should have plugged off. You don't realize, okay, we are almost on time. Mega, do we have time? Do we continue?
Yes, ma'am, you can continue for, we have 5 minutes more.
5 minutes, okay, let me quickly then end it. Of course, time is your secret weapon. No, it's not your secret weapon. It is the remote control to your bank account. So you decide how do you want to manage your bank account. That's exactly what your time entirely is, and that's where we end. I would want to take few questions if somebody has it.
So, ma'am, one question is there. If you can mention some Indian organization which help in organizing our team and schedule.
Okay. Are you talking about training firms, or you're talking about practices from large India organization who are following certain practices which can be incorporated in your own company? I sense two different areas to this question. So first point, there are there are many trainers. There are excellent trainers, right? I can suggest a few. If you want, I can leave their names and details with Megha. You can check out with Megha later on. And companies, yes, there are many companies who have these policies of training their employees on certain areas, right, to be more productive, to be more effective. And those training goes a long way. It's not just a classroom training. It is also a lot of habitual training, right? So the leadership training, the entire proficiency training, all those things, right? Through that, they are taught. And of course, biggest training is your day-to-day job. You see people around you, you see people who have already survived such pressure situation, and you learn from them. So that's exactly how many organizations have built this particular process um, of being more productive, irrespective of the pressure and the kind of I would not say toxicity, but the kind of situations that they may have on a day-to-day basis. Because I mean, I can name and connect you, but I'll leave that to Megha, because this is a public. I mean, this is a open forum, so I'll leave those details, the specific details, with her.
Sure, ma'am. So, thank you so much for taking such an insightful session today. And we would like to thanks for the side of the Gwalior Smart City Incubation. Thank you. Centers, thank you so much.
Thank you. What an honor. What an honor. No more question, I think.
No, ma'am, no my question.
Okay.
And if there are any question, I'll let you know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you so much. Have a
Yep,
nice day.
thanks.